Dior Kelly. I'm an assistant professor at Iowa State University and a member of NAASC. And I'm pleased this morning to present one of our inaugural awards by NAASC for excellence in dissemination of knowledge to Molly Edwards. Molly is the owner and producer of Science in Real Life, which is an education-based media company that creates STEM-focused digital content. Her first YouTube video, which was titled DNA with an exclamation mark, featured DNA extractions from Arabidopsis. And if you have a kid like I do, you know that most kids watch stuff on YouTube nonstop these days. That's pretty much all they want to do. So I think it's really great to have an awesome science presence and education presence in these different media platforms that kids are going to daily. So this morning we are recognizing her creativity and allyship of science for our community, or the Arabidopsis community, as well as other scientists with this award. So congratulations, Molly. And we have an award up here for you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited and honored to be here to accept this award. And it's especially meaningful to be here at this specific moment in time to talk about plant science communication because we are experiencing a huge shift in public awareness and appreciation of plants. This trend has been tragically driven by the pandemic, but plants have become a source of healing and escape and delight for so many more people. News outlets and social media and academic literature all agree that people are really into plants now. So people are ready. Oh, sorry. Yes, you may. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Here, let me do this properly. Introduce you now.
Yeah?
Yes.
Let me know if not. Okay. Good? As high as possible. Oh, let me take that off. All right. Oh, it's on them. It's on the name tag. That's fun. Okay. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. Is that okay? Excellent. Okay. All right. People are primed and ready for plant knowledge. And I would also argue that the scientific community is ready to provide that knowledge because outreach and science communication are becoming a higher priority. I noticed this shift just in the time that I was in grad school. Scientists are more interested in outreach and science communication, are supporting their trainees doing it, and are appreciating the value of SciComm. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about why it's valuable. Let's talk about how to do impactful and responsible SciComm. Let's talk about the current SciComm landscape. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about my own journey in SciComm so you know where I'm coming from. So on the internet, I go by Science IRL or Science in Real Life. You can find it pretty much anywhere you get videos on the internet. I've built an audience of 60,000 followers and millions of views, all in service of our mission, which is to cultivate, especially in young people, enthusiasm for and a sense of belonging in STEM. To accomplish this mission, in my videos, I often visit a guest scientist and we do an experiment together in their lab, discuss their research, really get to showcase the humanity and joy of being a scientist at work. And along the way, our viewers get introduced to tons of different scientist role models who represent their identities and help our audience to see themselves in STEM. Now, I just got to point out that, yes, my first ever episode of Science IRL was an Arabidopsis DNA extraction, and Arabidopsis has been and will continue to be a frequent star on Science IRL because it is the source of so many good plant stories. And plant biology in general has been key to Science IRL content because it's key to my identity as a scientist. I am a plant biologist. So in 2017, with funding from ASPB and ESCB, I was able to travel all over the country and make a series of 10 Science IRL episodes featuring badass women plant biologists all over the country. And this work was recognized by UN Women as being a force for advancing gender equality in the STEM community. So this plant biology series really launched Science IRL and kind of set me on the path to today, which is, working as a full-time science communicator. After I defended my PhD in 2022, I founded my SciComm business, Science IRL Productions, and ever since I have been working with researchers to bring their STEM stories to life. So I really firmly believe in the value of SciComm to the scientific community. First and foremost, it helps you get your research out there, right? And the really cool thing about outreach in the digital age is that you are able to communicate with many different audiences at once. So every time I post a video about my research, I get a dozen DMs asking for PDFs of the paper, everyone from high school teachers to PIs to grad students, you name it. Doing SciComm allows you to advocate for causes that are relevant to your research, climate change, food security, the importance of government funding for research. Every time I post a video about bioengineering, it opens up avenues to communicate with people who maybe would not have been open to the idea before, gives them a chance to ask genuine questions, and gives me a chance to dispel misinformation. We can use SciComm to inspire the next generation of scientists. You are providing a gateway into the world of STEM. So every time I post a video about my grad school experience, I get tons of lovely messages and questions about how to apply and hopes and dreams for the future. So I really think we can use SciComm as a tool to welcome people into STEM. And of course, you'll gain so many transferable skills along the way. My grant writing and storytelling, figure making, public speaking are all so much better because I did SciComm at the same time as I was doing my PhD. So I think SciComm makes us better scientists. We're also seeing this prioritization of SciComm manifest very concretely in the context of funding agencies. So in the US, the NSF, for example, has broader impacts requirements for its funding proposal. I'd be super curious to learn from the international community here what the vibe is in other countries. But I'd hear sort of in passing throughout grad school from faculty like, oh yeah, hey, broader impacts are like really becoming super important these days. And I was curious like how widespread this sentiment was, so I interviewed some colleagues. And they said, yeah, back in the day, broader impacts maybe used to be more of a token thing, but the expectations now are much higher. They agreed that we should be doing robust and unique outreach, but at the same time, you can't overcommit and design an outreach project that's more labor-intensive than your actual research. So how do we find this balance between impact and feasibility? So I've had one foot in academia and the other in SciComm for around 10 years now, and my solution to this conundrum is very simply for researchers to collaborate with science communicators. There is a vibrant community of SciComm experts out there who you can work with to make your outreach amazing. And this is a mutually beneficial relationship, right? So benefits to the researchers are that you're getting high impact, high quality content out of the gate. So you're working with someone who already has an audience, you're not trying to build one from scratch, and they're professional content producers, so you don't have to teach yourself podcasting or video editing. And the feasibility thing is built in, right? You can decide how much or how little you want to be involved. Maybe you only have an hour or two to sit down for an interview, or maybe you want to see how the whole thing is made and be involved in every step of the process. And all of these things will really boost the competitiveness of your funding proposals. Benefits to the science communicator include they're getting story ideas and content ideas and access to really cool science spaces through you. They benefit from the network that comes with collaborating with academics, including leveraging the PR machinery of your institutions to reach new audiences. And of course, the funding itself. Fundraising on your own is really difficult, and it's great to be included in these larger proposals. This model has worked really well for Science IRL. I've been involved in 6 NSF awards to date, with many more in the works. And we've amassed around 250,000 views on these projects and really sparked lots of engagement with viewers. Especially meaningful to me have been being involved in REU projects, the research experience for undergraduate programs, because through these I get to help train the next generation of scientists in science communication. It's really fulfilling. And being involved in the CROPS, this Science and Technology Center from the NSF, has been super cool because they have a social science research component. So my videos are being used in research focus groups to assess public perception of biotechnology. So these collaborations have just been so meaningful and fulfilling. So if you're thinking like, hey, I want to do something like that, you also may be thinking, how do I get started doing something like that? So I want to take you all on sort of a brief tour of the digital SciComm landscape. That's my wheelhouse, just to get the wheels turning about the types of things you can create by collaborating with this community. This is going to go by quickly. Do not fear, there will be a QR code with a link to all these resources at the end. So first you might think, what kind of content do I want to make? Do you want to make long-form kind of mini documentary videos on YouTube? There's tons of educational creators here, many who specialize in plants. You could collaborate with comic book artists to make comics about your research. There's a plethora of plant podcasts out there. Instagram has so many visual media, you could get really artsy and creative by collaborating with this community. And of course, on any video platform, There is a lot of really engaging short-form vertical video content happening with lots of plant creators in this space. How to find people, that was obviously just a really short sampling. There will be links to databases of educational creators in that link. Other things to consider, again, your time. How much time would you like to spend? Your budget, I can't speak for all of these media, but videos, you know, short form is gonna run you a few thousand, up to, if you're creating like a really elaborate mini documentary, that can get up into the 15K range. What kind of story do you want to tell? Is it about your research? Are you creating fundamental educational tools in your field? The history of your field? You name it. And what audience do you want to reach? Would you like to tell stories to elementary schoolers, adults, high schoolers, a different stakeholder group in your research? But at the end of the day, I would recommend doing something that sparks the most joy for you in your lab, because that joy is really going to come through in your science communication. Now, it will be tempting to reach out to the largest creator on any given platform to do a project with them. And I'm going to caution against this, and to explain why, I'd like to reference this video by ASAP Science, which is one of the prominent science YouTube channels. They looked up the 25 largest channels, science channels on YouTube, and this is what they had to say. The first woman on the list is number 24. There are no black people, there are no indigenous people, there are no people with disabilities. This list is all white. So, unfortunately, SciComm has some of the same issues with racism and sexism and ableism as science itself. And one of the ways we can counter this is by collaborating with creators from groups that have been excluded from this space. You can still reach a ton of people, thousands of people, by collaborating with a slightly smaller channel, and you will be actively helping to rectify these inequalities in SciComm. This video has a great list of diverse creators, as does the excellent Where My Lady's At video of the Brain Scoop. And this isn't the only perspective from which we need to consider representation in our outreach. Equally important, of course, is the actual content we are creating. Whose stories are we telling? Whose voices are we uplifting? If you are a PI from the demographic majority in your field, I would ask yourself, do I need to be centered in this content? Who else in my lab can I pass the mic to? But I do want to take a step back and say I'm not trying to sound like I'm preaching to you, because this has been a major learning process for me and was not something I was thinking about super critically when I first started Science IRL. So to illustrate this, here are the demographic data of the guest scientists I featured in my first year of Science IRL. And it just took a brief kind of moment of awareness of like, yikes, for me to sit back and, meaningfully write a mission statement and incorporate this intentionally into my work. And these are the data from the subsequent years of Science IRL. So I still have work to do here and with other axes of diversity, but this is a big improvement. One of my SciComm heroes, Ed Yong, did something similarly. He audited the gender breakdown of the speakers in his, that he was quoting in his sources, and found that men were way overrepresented. So he too took a step back and was easily able to achieve gender parity in his sources after he realized what was up. So it really can just take a brief moment of awareness and change, and the impact can be good. And I'm not saying we're going to solve systemic racism or sexism with this, but it's crucial and urgent that any work we do is through a lens of inclusion and belonging. Okay, so we started with people are ready for plant knowledge. Scientists are ready to provide that knowledge. I hope your brains are buzzing with collaborative ideas about how to collaborate with this community to boost the impact and creativity of your outreach projects. And I just want to acknowledge that scientific societies are ready to support Plant SciComm. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. It just means so much. Thank you so much to NAASC and ICAR for dedicating an award, dedicating time during the conference to talk about this work. It really, truly means so much. There's that QR code for the resources. Stay in touch. I would love to collaborate with this community. Thank you so much.